Hey, we're live again. All right. Well, hey, welcome, guys. It is the first of the month. It's the 1st of March. I believe it's like Women's History Month or something. Ladies Month, hashtag feminism, hashtag equality, equanimity, all that stuff. Hashtags across the board. If you're a lady and you're watching, you deserve this. Equanimity, not this show. Uh, this show is what it is. So if you're new here, and I see a lot of new names and faces, like and subscribe. If you like what you see in the next 15 minutes or so, stick around and share it with your friends who are also into this stuff. Bioactivity. Hey guys, I'm gonna let you guys know I'm gonna try really hard. The way I'm doing screen sharing tonight, I don't know how it's gonna work, but I can't see it on my screen. I'm gonna try to see it on my phone. Your comments. Otherwise, I won't be able to see them. So while we're showing pictures later, we have lots and lots of photos that are. Ryne is an amazing photographer. Ryne Pavy, our guest from Springtails US, is going to be talking to us about many different kinds of springtails and what's involved in that, and getting set up with those, finding them in the wild, hopefully photographing them, because his photos and videos, they look like they're the size of Cocker Spaniels or something, which would be cool, but they're not. So if you're new here, welcome. Stick around, and we will bring Ryne in right now.
Howdy,
Ryne,
howdy.
welcome to the show. So I'm glad you showed up. I'll let everybody know Ryne's been pretty nervous about being on here, so be nice to him. Be gentle. Menagerie's here. All right, let's see if this video comes up on my phone. It does, and I can see the chat, but I need my glasses, which I don't do. There's a special day for you, Ryne. I'm making exceptions, which I don't do. Here we go. All right. They're a little greasy. So, hey, first off, welcome. Thank you for agreeing to come on. Second off, good vibes. That's all we do. Yeah. Second off, what we do here is just have casual conversations about these things, and we'll get as in-depth as you want. Sound good?
Sounds good.
All right, we'll open it up later to questions from the audience, and we'll share some here and there. If I see some really relevant questions in the middle, I will do that. I don't really pay a lot of attention to the audience while they're here. I probably should. That's kind of what live streams are about, but I think it's more about the candid reactions that I get out of you folks that are guests, and I actually use the right hand to address you. So, Captain Mountain Dew, Chris Biggs even showed up today. This is a big day. How long have you been keeping Springtails? That's the first question.
I've been keeping Springtails for 9 months, I want to say. Not long at all.
9 months, okay.
People want to think I'm some sort of expert, but really I just am obsessed.
Obsessions are good. I think that's how almost all of my guests have started at an obsession and become, I don't want to say experts, but serious hobbyists, which, especially in something like Springtails, there's a lot of room. There's a lot of wiggle room to become an expert, basically.
Yeah.
Because I think it's fairly new to keep exotic species or weird species of the Springtails that aren't just the regular. I only have the regular little white ones, and now I'm worried.
The hobby basically just started this year when all the reds and oranges and stuff started coming in to the U.S.
I mean, I've seen the craziest stuff, zebra striped ones or whatever, all these different things. And you've caught a lot of exotic, weird ones just you're in Illinois, right? Southern or central Illinois?
Yeah, north central Illinois. Yeah.
Okay, that's right. You're not that far from me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're all in trouble. We don't believe in the fourth wall here, folks. All right, your friends. These are your friends. Colony and culture. Who's this Yahoo? Get your own show and run it your way. Anyway, so you've been doing this 9 months, and you're already going to start your own little business.
Yeah, getting it registered real soon. I've just been kind of doing things low key. Today was the first day that I started selling Springtails again. I was on an extended break while I kind of got my stuff together. I went from 6 species before my break to 17 species for sale in March. So it's exciting. It's really exciting.
That is exciting. You're gonna have to watch your colony counts so you don't go too crazy selling, and like have to take that year-long hiatus while you build them back up.
Yep, I've got counts and everything. I did it. I'm doing it right this time around. That's why I took the break.
I can see the organization. So what got you into it 9 months ago? All that time ago.
So I started making terrariums with stuff in the woods, and I really because the YouTube videos about it. And then I was like, I want to make YouTube videos. So then I got my first little macro lens, and I still have the same one. This thing was like $20.
I have that one, and then I have one that Biggs, my biggest turd of a guest or follower, Chris Biggs, who's making fun of my backdrop, spared no expense. I have no expenses to spare, Chris. What was I saying? I got so sidetracked. Yeah. So
I started making YouTube videos about them and filming the life within. And that's when I discovered my first wild springtail. And I went on this whole journey to get it identified for the video. And then I was like, okay, springtails are kind of cool. Well, then we're sledding on this hill in like December or January. I can't remember. A little over a year ago, basically. And I'm like, guys, this isn't black dust covering all the snow. This is millions of springtails. So then I just got absolutely obsessed. The moment that the snow melted, I was out hours every day, like looking for them. Yeah.
I've seen your posts on Facebook where it's just like all these great new hobbies are just out in the woods, just searching for everything. And it's just amazing. It blows me away. So I wish I had more time to do that kind of stuff. Like my daughter has zero chill to go out with me. She'd be like, she's 4. So, that's her thing. But she just, she has zero chill for any of that stuff. She's like, what are you doing, Daddy? Why are you digging in dirt? And it's like, just whatever, man. Go eat your snacks. Sit in the van and play your tablet. I don't know what to tell you. Go run in the creek, whatever. Because I have a couple spots that I want to hit that I think would be great. Like I found some crazy isopods in cemeteries. Cemeteries is the place I go to. So like the outskirts, not amongst the graves, just like out. They're usually wooded. So you've usually got good deadfalls. You've got a creek or something running through. You've got a lot of good spots to catch microfauna.
Yeah, and with springtails, you can find them literally anywhere. But when you're starting out, like look in leaf litter and look near water, and that's what I always tell everybody. Like you're guaranteed to find something. And a friend of mine, she went out looking for the first time, and she's like, "I found snow fleas," and like it's pretty cool. She went out for like an hour and collected some snow fleas to try to culture. So it's pretty dope. Like anyone can do it. It's so much, like in my opinion, it's so much cooler than the isopod hobby. Because if you're in the US, all you can do is buy those crazy Asian isopods. But you can go out in the woods and find insane springtails. Like I found tropical springtails from either Asia or South America, and I'm in rural Illinois. How the hell did they get here? I don't know, but I'm going to try to culture them this year.
They came in on some funky produce.
Not good.
Yeah. Like all those other crazy, you see those people with, I got a bag of bananas and this 4-pound wolf spider. I don't know how hard I would crap my pants if I opened a bag of bananas with one of those giant wolf spiders in it. Like I'm not technically afraid of spiders. Yeah, like a surprise spider bothers me. Like I'm not a fan of surprise insects. But springtails are like, even in the photos that you sent, which we'll get to, I promise. They're like cuddly almost. Like if they were big enough, you'd want to cuddle them. You'd want to just hang out and just like, oh, look at this guy.
They're cool little dudes. I'm in love with them.
Yeah, in the macro photos and stuff that you sent, they remind me of like their morphology reminds me of like the water bears, right?
They're like alien puppies, like tiny. Like if you blow them up to the size of a dog, they're just little alien puppies.
That straight up makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
My wife has not found my surprise invertebrate. She had her hand on the container while she was talking to me the other day, and I was like, Oh, please, Jesus, be in your hide. I have a tarantula, and I'm not allowed at all to have a tarantula. But I had to anyway. I got it anyway. I didn't care. But yeah, she doesn't know. She had her hand on it and was looking in the aquarium underneath it. And yeah, that would have gotten me in a lot of trouble. So thankfully, she has springtails. My not my wife, my tarantula. Pretty much every enclosure I have has springtails. I'm trying to find the aquatic version of a springtail to kind of put it into my my fish tanks. So I know there's got to be something.
Find them. Anyone can find them. I mean, I searched a bunch of different lakes, but I know where to get thousands and thousands of aquatic springtails now. And I killed all the ones I collected. I feel bad about that, but I think I'm going to be able to culture them this year.
Really? I didn't even realize there were. But I mean, it makes sense, but I've only seen them walk on water, right? So these live in the water.
Oh, they're on water. No springtails go below the water.
Okay. Yeah, the ones that I have, I keep on the charcoal. My cultures are on the charcoal with the water and fish food and all that. Well, my master culture, I guess. And they're doing great. So, but that's, like I said, it's just like the generic white one that you find everywhere. The feeder springtail. Yeah. They're not these amazing ones that you've got going on. So 9 months in the hobby, you're basically finding them yourself. Where are you sourcing the exotic ones? Because you're saying that you're getting them, the ones that you're not finding yourself, you're purchasing.
Like the reds and oranges, really.
Yeah.
They're just getting imported into the country from Europe and Asia from other people, and then I get my hands on them.
Do you have any sources, or do you want to keep those quiet so you can be their source?
Keep it a little quiet for now.
Yeah.
Don't want to step on toes. You know how it is.
We throw names around. It's good. I'm guessing this is one of your buddies. I'm not even going to try to read that thing. OOH2ITR. Is that supposed? I don't know if that's supposed to be a joke or a thing. Or he just smashed his head on the keyboard to get the name. But do you culture on clay or charcoal?
Clay. I hate charcoal. Clay or soil.
Okay. So clay, or like the soil's good too, but the clay is kind of like the way everybody goes, right?
Friend just messaged me. He's 002HIR or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. I hope he appreciates that I'm just teasing. But I mean, no one's ever gonna steal that name anywhere. Is it a joke? Is it like a pun that I'm not getting?
Let's see if he shoots me another text.
Let's see if I want him to post it right here, public. We got Permanent Exotics here. We got a lot of Springtail enthusiasts on board today. This is great. 20 viewers. Jesus.
20.
That's a record, I think. 20 live viewers. Holy crap.
That knocked it out of the water.
Can you come on next week? I'll just cancel our guest next week. We'll bring you back up.
Let's see if we have enough to talk about. I mean, I'd be down.
I mean, you sent me enough pictures. I think we could do two. Brandon Arellano. Is that one of your guys? Is that one of my guys? I don't even know. All right. I'm going to put into the video here. I'm going to go share my screen. And try to keep. Are you getting that feedback at all? Are you hearing that, or is that just me? No? Anybody hearing feedback?
No, I don't hear nothing.
Okay.
Myself.
When I hold my phone and I have my headset on, it makes. All right. Are you seeing this video?
I'm seeing it.
You're seeing it. Can you see my mouse?
I'm seeing it.
All right, good. Because then I can be like, look at you. Look at this guy. So this is out in the wild, right? This is something you're seeing.
Yeah. So you find those really, like, ones just like that. They're always near water. The whole genus is some water lovers. Okay. I keep a species that looks almost identical to that, but it's different species. And yeah, I mean, I love their color and that big dorsal stripe. I think that they should become pretty prevalent in the hobby, especially because of how common they are in the wild. That's people are really sure to start collecting them.
I'd like to see how bright they are against like soil or moss or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they stand out big time. They're not too big, but they stand out pretty good.
When I build my giant paludarium, I'm going to be in contact with you for some rare species here. All right.
I'd love to help you out. That sounds like fun.
I'd like to just get a bright species to go right in there. So let's see. All right, these are little black guys. Are these the guys you found in the snow?
No, those are not snow fleas. They're just lookalikes.
Okay.
There's some wood lovers. It took me hundreds of photos to get one lucky photo to get them identified to species, and I won't even say the name. It's not worth mentioning, but they're pretty cool, and you can just see them munching on the lichen. Where I found them right on that branch.
I mean, look at them go, and that's a great branch to just collect. So
I collected some, but I killed them. I was a total noob. I was a total noob when I found those guys. I tried to culture them in the dumbest ways.
These guys don't even have antenna. Like, look at that.
Just little stubby things.
Unbelievable. I can't get over how little I know about Springtails because I didn't even realize like how many appendages they had.
So many people tell me I didn't know there was anything but the white ones.
What just happened? I think we ran out of video. Here we go.
Oh yeah, I know.
That's my Facebook I'm blocked on. Don't talk about burning down burrito places, people. You will get banned on Facebook for a month, apparently. This guy looks not to be a jerk, but this is basic. This is your basic design springtail.
It is a giant species, though. It's on the smaller end of giant species. It came from invertebrate dude, but I find them in the wild as well. So, I mean, hell, skip out on buying them and see if you can find them. I find them most commonly in this one prairie.
Okay. Because, I mean, they can just live in so many different environments.
That's a backyard species. That one, when there's like dirt churned up in your yard, that's the first species to colonize it. And they're arid too. So they're one of the only that are out in the summer.
Okay. So they would definitely go with my my tarantula too.
Yeah. They're pretty prolific as well.
Well, and that's always good. Look at that guy. Wow.
And that's my yellow marsh spring. It's related to the one in the first video that I was telling you about. They're cousins.
Okay. There's just so many different.
Those guys, I can't get the color to show on video or photo, but they shine like a black light when you see them with your own eyes. I'm calling them a collector's species because you really have to see them with your own eyes to appreciate them. They're pretty cool.
So these guys have almost like an iridescence to them?
Yeah. They've got really reflective scales, and I found them on the shore of a lake in washed up vegetation.
Wow. You can kind of see it here. You can see where it would show up, right?
Yeah. I should have got a better picture of them, but whatever.
That's awesome.
That's a giant species. So that one, I really like this species. They're called Isotoma delta, and they get the name delta because deltas are triangles, and you can see all their body segments there are covered in triangles. So they're very easy to identify. You can see the triangles with the naked eye if you look close enough. So yeah, and I find them a lot in my backyard. Like I've found like 15, maybe more, maybe less species in my backyard so far.
That's awesome. What a menagerie to. So do most of these only go by the Latin names?
Me and my buddies are coming up with common names. Like my friend Kyle calls him Godzilla, and I'm gonna rock with it. I think it's a good name.
That's the cool thing. Well, that's the cool and dangerous thing about getting in on the ground floor of these hobbies is getting to name stuff. So I've thrown out names for species because we've had a lot of people with isopods like reveal a new morph or something that they got on the show. And I'm like, oh, call it this. It never works. So
those guys are inadvertently one of the most common springtails. You see it every day on Facebook. Somebody posts, "What are these springtails that showed up in my isopod bin?" That's what they are. They're the silver springtails. Are these springtails or mites?
It's like, well, I mean, it doesn't really matter with isopods, does it?
Those some super tiny guys that my buddy Thal Aquatics collected off the surface of his aquarium and then sent them out to me. They're pretty small, but they lived in his aquarium, so that's cool.
That's crazy. Did you get to culture them, or do they just like live on top of the water?
I've got them cultured really well on soil, and I'm experimenting on clay.
I want to let springtails go on top of my aquarium and see. because I have anyway, we'll talk about that later. This is the kind that I am really enthralled with. Like this body shape here, it looks like a tiny spider.
Yeah, the globular springtails, and people are pretty enchanted by them, and they think that they're impossible to culture, but I think it really just depends on the species. Like these guys will culture off of anything. You put them in a cocoa coir isopod bin and they'll breed like crazy. They're super prolific, and I really want to get them widespread in the hobby just because they're so easy and interesting too. They're globular.
They are globular. And disclaimer, we here at IsoBuddies Productions do not recommend cocoa coir for any isopod species whatsoever.
I used to use cocoa coir, so that's why I mention it.
If you're doing that now, just knock it off. Everyone does it at first, basically.
Yeah.
Everyone who doesn't have YouTube. Oh, look at this guy.
Yeah, that's a giant species right there. I collected that one on the same vegetated lake shore, but yeah, you can find them all over the place. Other people have collected them as well, but I'm the one that's prolifically selling them, I guess. And they breed fast. They're huge. They're pretty awesome. Another one I want to make common in the hobby.
What is huge for a springtail? Is it like a millimeter?
Huge is like 4 millimeters.
Oh wow!
That's what I'm calling giant if they're like 3.5 plus, I guess, something like that.
That is a big.
So those are 4 millimeters. Yeah, that species is.
Wow! All right, that would be cool. I could see. You know what? I would love to have these in my bin with my Armadillidium Destroy, because they're the black and yellow too.
Oh yeah, and I think this would look
really cool.
They do great with isopods. Those guys, I collected myself, but Doug Hollister was the first one who collected them. That's the Rutabaga Runners, as he named them.
Rutabaga Runners.
Because they run, they don't really jump, they just run around.
I had to Google rutabagas a couple years ago, because when you decide to have kids, there's a source that will tell you every week how big the fetus is in the belly, right? In the womb. And at one point, they compare it to vegetables and fruits. And at one point, they said our daughter was as big as a rutabaga. My wife and I looked at each other like, what in the hell is a rutabaga?
I don't even know what a rutabaga is.
Like, I had heard about it, but it's basically a turnip. I don't know why they don't just call it a turnip.
Oh, okay. That makes
it's what
sense.
An asshole calls a turnip, apparently. So I don't know. He is killing it, Shane. I hope you're talking about Ryne. Ryne's doing a great job.
Thank you, Shane.
Okay, so we had a question about globular springtails because Menagerie, my dear friend Menagerie, said she found a ton of globular springtails on leaves that she collected for her pods. What's your procedure for culturing from wild species?
You want to start them out on a good soil and feed them a good food. Overkill, basically. Like, make the most complicated food you can give them. Yeast is a staple, but mushroom powder is what almost every springtail destroys. And yeah, you basically can't go wrong with soil and good food. And you want to start with 15 to 50. When you have 50, you're guaranteed. Anything less than 15, it's wait and see sort of thing, I guess.
Yeah. I feel like with 50, you've got a good chance of having probably at least 10 pregnant females at once, and then the burst from that is going to really set you off, right? Basically.
Yeah, they all lay their eggs at once. Did I send you any pictures of egg clusters, or did I forget to do that?
I don't know.
Because the egg clusters are really fascinating.
I don't know if you did or not. We're getting there.
I'm calling those guys Jabbas, because that's what Facebook decided. They're like Jabba the Hutt. They're big old fatties. So yeah, okay. That's their name. Jabbas.
Jabbas. All right. Don't get a cease and desist from Disney now. Like, don't. They are ruthless. They are ruthless.
That's the blue Padura that are super common in the hobby. Proisotoma minuta. They're probably the smallest species in the hobby, and they're ridiculously prolific. Like, they lay. It looks like they lay their body mass in eggs. The egg clusters are just like an inch across. It's insane.
That's
I
crazy.
really like that species. I got mine from Pet Peds and Pods, who was a pleasure to work with, by the way. I highly recommend her.
Rachel's the best. Yeah.
Yeah.
We were
cool.
gonna have her again on soon. We missed her on the 22nd, so she had some family stuff come up. So she was supposed to be here for our 1-year anniversary episode, and she was our very first guest, actually.
Oh, really?
So
okay.
yeah, a lot of history there. She's the first ISO buddy that I met in person at a show. So she was at, I want to say it was NARBC.
You're gonna have to explain what ISO Buddies is, because I used to think it was like, oh, it's a Facebook group for isopod buddies, and I was like, wait, this is a thing.
It is. It is a Facebook group for isopod buddies. I started it. We could get into that later too. But briefly, I started it. I was looking at other isopod communities, and I really liked them. I just didn't like how their page were run, so I started my own to kind of supplement at first, and then it just kind of like, I don't know. It's really the only one that I'm members of a ton of other ones, but they're all very specific in what they do. And IsoBuddies kind of evolved quickly to encompass a lot of hobbies, because bioactivity and isopods and springtails and all of that, it's all connected. So that's how the show evolved quickly too. I didn't want to just do an isopod YouTube show. That would be real boring. So they're a lot of fun to have on once in a while, but a weekly show about isopods would be like, hey guys, we're going to talk about the same old crap. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks, all three of you, for tuning in. Let's see who's next. Oh, did I crap out again? Was that it? No, that wasn't it. All right, let's see. There's that guy. There's that guy. We're getting to the end. This guy. Oh,
those guys. Those are the guys that created the hobby, I'd say, because they're fast breeders and they're just flooding into the US. Like, people are making some ridiculous money off of them. And I've got a boatload of eggs just waiting for them to hatch, and I'm going to start slanging them as well.
I mean, it's crazy, especially when you have a species that breeds well. But these guys, like, you're selling them for the cosmetics of it, really. Like, just look at that. I love orange. I love everything orange. And I think this would be amazing to have.
They were my first big move into assessing the misidentification problem, because people will just find a springtail. Oh, it looks like this one off of Google. I'll just call it that, and I have a problem with that. I consult. Yep. I actually consult an expert. I'd say that he's probably the leading expert in the world, and he's open to the public. I mean, he's very helpful to everybody. And Frans Johnsons, he's from Belgium. If he runs columbola.org. Columbola is the scientific name. I don't know if he mentioned that. And yeah, he identified them properly for me down to genus. And so they're Protonera species Spanish orange. That's the common name I'm throwing out there for them.
Spanish orange. I don't know what's in the soil in Spain that all of these things come out orange, but I got to figure that out. Look at this guy's got to be tiny. This is a microscopic species right here.
No, they're not that small.
What?
They're one of the common ones. They're probably about as big as the ones that you were talking about, the common white ones that everyone knows.
Okay.
They're prolific. They're also misidentified pretty commonly, but that problem is going away.
Look at the chest hair on that thing. We should name this the Bigzicus minimus for the chest hair on this thing. That's a very personal, horrible joke.
Yet.
They're not described yet?
Oh, I don't know.
All right.
I need to get them under 400 times magnification to get them down to species, and I'm not qualified for that.
Oh my God.
My microscope is cheap.
I have a microscope camera thing that plugs into my phone. And it's pretty dope. It's a USB thing. I got it on Amazon. I wish I knew where it was right now. But it's very finicky. Oh, this is a blue, right?
Yeah, those ones came from the lake shore with all the washed up vegetation, just like the two others. And my friend Michael Thallaker, Thallaquatics, he discovered they fluoresce under a black light, like the scorpions that shine.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do that. I haven't seen it myself yet, but they do that, and it's really freaking cool. So I'm calling them a collector species as well. Pretty prolific, low key, because they stay in the soil. So for cleanup crew purposes, some people are skittish. They're like, I need a cleanup crew, but I hate bugs. And I'm like, oh, this is a perfect species. You're not even gonna notice them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you would hate a springtail anyway. Like they're so tiny.
Yeah, exactly. Some
I've
people are
heard
just weird about bugs, though.
I just heard about somebody's house being infested with them.
That
And
happens.
I was like, okay. I was blown away. I was like, how does that even happen?
You need to have a moisture problem for that to happen. They need moisture to lay their eggs and just to survive in general.
Gotcha. I had a question here from somebody that I passed by that I didn't notice. So
Awesome.
Brendan Leal wants to know, most of the springtails you collect, are they dependent on breeding, or do you know if any of them are parthenogenic?
I'm no expert. People think I'm some expert. I'm no expert. I don't know any of mine that I've collected if they are parthenogenic. I don't know. That's all I can say. I'll find out eventually. I don't know right now, though.
Thal Aquatics says he put red springtails with his tie spiky isopods, which if you're going to spend money on tie spikies, you might as well get some fancy springtails to go with them.
Oh, the red springtails came from Thailand too.
Oh, so they're like neighbors anyway.
That's the most common species there.
Cheetos.
The ones that you were.
This is the one that I have. Yeah, these are the garbage ones I have.
Those are parthenogenic. I don't know how to pronounce it. Yeah, they might be the fastest breeders in the game, and that's probably why they're the most common.
I mean, they're everywhere. They took over one of my ants' enclosures, and the ants have since died due to my horrible care technique for them. But it was like really bad beginner, not knowing what I'm doing. There's still some there, I guess, but the springtails have overrun that thing. So that's one of my other cultures. They're on sand. They're on a mixture of sand and topsoil. So
really?
and there's these guys, and they're everywhere. There's thousands of them in that enclosure. So in that tub, there's thousands of them and some now like medium-sized dubia roaches that kind of got thrown in there because I had nowhere else to put them. Look at this guy.
I was waiting for this one to come up. That's the current largest species in the hobby, and I collected them myself. I'm waiting for some. Yeah, I'm waiting for some other wild collectors to get the true largest. They're their cousin, and they're in the same genus. They're the largest species in North America. I can't wait.
We need to go on a trip together. I need to come down by you and.
Oh, dude, for sure. We could have a great time. We need to do that. We need to do that.
I want to start setting up meetings of people like. We'll get into that later too, but I want to start setting up like local, maybe not local, but within like a 3-hour radius. Like,
how cool would that be for the show too? I mean, we could go out in the woods and talk about springtails out there
for hours. Just talk
for
about
hours.
Springtails. Wow.
It takes hours. When I collected those guys, it was in May. The mosquitoes were out, and I came out of those woods looking like I had chicken pox. It was all worth it because now I got the largest species in the hobby. So,
I mean, that's just great. That is just great. All right, I'm going to sign off of here. Let me kick this out. Oh, I can't do it now? Okay, whatever. Hold on, sorry. I'm trying to do new things here today, and it's not working out for me.
Is this the first time that you've like put photos up on the screen?
No, but it's the first time I did it like this. Every other time that I've done it, it's been really dumb, and I'm trying to find a better way. Colony and Culture said they've gotten the. I don't know why I assume that's a woman.
It's a
dude. Oh, hey, whatever, man. Still,
my buddy Jacob.
Jake has gotten the tropical pinks to go absolutely crazy on a sand culture. Okay. It's just like play sand. I set it up. I wanted to have my ants. I had a leafcutter ant. There is a local Illinois, down by you actually, leafcutter ants that is very small, but they're very, very cool. It was my favorite colony. I now have 3. And I still have some of them left. So I'm hoping the queens are still there because it's been months. It's been like 6 months since the colony died. but I don't know. So I've been trying to like bring them back. Anyway, their setup, I tried to go more naturalistic, and I added Springtails, which was really dumb because the ants themselves are just a little bit bigger than Springtails, and so leafcutter ants eat fungus. That's all they eat.
Oh, that's geez, you really
a big
screwed
part
up,
of what
man.
Springtails do. Yeah, I was like, oh, the Springtails will eat mold because mold sucks. Mold will kill them. Well, the Springtails kind of, I think they just crushed their numbers is what they did. I don't think the colony's dead, but I think that the Springtails really wrecked their numbers. Is it going to Vegas? Who's going to Vegas? What did I miss? Brendan wants to know if we know the lifespan of Springtails.
I heard it's like 1 to 2 years. I haven't even been in the game long enough to figure it out myself. I really want to get some species like isolated into a test tube from the day they were born and just observe them. But one thing at a time, you know, there's 1,000,001 things to do.
That's a really cool idea, actually.
When you're starting a business like this.
Test tube colonies would be awesome for that, actually. That is a really good idea. I have Springtails in with my 2 ant test tube colonies to help clean up garbage, and they're doing better than the ants. So I had to like dump some out the other day. Ryne already knows this, but I successfully had snow fleas hatch. However, I haven't seen them since, so fingers crossed, they're just crawling around the substrate. That's the Aquatics had the snow fleas?
Yeah, snow fleas are proving to be surprisingly difficult. If he fails, then there probably won't be another chance to get them into the hobby until next winter. He's the only person I know who got them to breed so far. I tried to keep them, but I kept them on charcoal, and when I didn't know what I was doing, I hate charcoal. I speak out against it.
Yeah, okay. Is it the cocoa coir?
It works for some species, but yeah, it is the cocoa coir of Springtails. It's a fad that has been pushed by too many big names. Like Serpa Design, his Springtail Care video on YouTube is the most popular one, and it's just like garbage. I hate to say it. I love the guy. Yeah. I love his channel, but he should not have talked about Springtails with so much confidence.
I feel like it's one of those things where the hobby crosses over, where he does his thing, and yeah, he's keeping Springtails for his needs successfully. But again, that's just like the run-of-the-mill regular old species. It's not anything special. So, but he's not claiming to talk about that, though, to be fair. Yeah. But I get what you're saying. Like, he's an expert at what he does. My wife watched one of his videos the other day. She's like, why don't you do something like this? He's doing this all by himself and yada, yada. And I was like, yeah, it's cheaper to get it DIY, but he has like $3,000 worth of tools.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not always cheaper. Like if you're going to do 10 tanks, yes, it's cheaper. But if you're doing one, it's not. Tanner, you're better than this. Yeah, Menagerie said the same thing. His isopod video wasn't great either. She's right. But he just keeps like powders. He doesn't keep anything crazy. Powders and
you can't blame him. He didn't know any better. It's just a shame that he's such a popular guy and his videos ended up blowing up.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like if people keep stuff the way he keeps it, it's not a bad thing. Yeah. But they'll quickly learn. Like if they're going to specialize in bioactives like isopods and Springtails and whatnot, they're going to learn more than what Serpa has to say. So I was going to come. What's that?
Like on the topic of care misinformation, someone in Indiana found oranges and tried to keep them on charcoal and water, and it's like you find them in the dirt and you're gonna put them onto charcoal. Like you threw. It's like putting a human on Pluto, you know, like you screwed them. And
yeah. Yeah, like they're gonna get a lot of their sustenance from the substrate that they're on. Like just dig up a scoop. If you're getting Springtails, dig up a scoop of what they're sitting on and bring it home. What are you doing?
That's what I used to do at first. Yeah.
We were just talking, I think last week I was talking about, with our guest from Germany Saturday. We were talking about just him and his hobbyist friends. They just pick up stuff out of the wild and just bring it home and throw it in their bins or whatever. Like they don't, like moss, dirt, leaves. They just
see what shows up.
No, they just throw it in. Like so for their isopods, or in this case, it was pill millipedes. So, and here you're thinking pill millipedes. I'm going to keep them in the most sterile environment, like perfectly controlled. I'm going to be in charge of every organism that's in that soil. And he's just like, nah, man, I go out to my yard and I got a tree that drops branches with lichen on it. And I just throw it in the bin. They go nuts, whatever. And I was like, oh, okay, all right. And at first I was shocked. And then I had to think for like 5 seconds, like, this is exactly what I do because I'm lazy. So, I don't have anything crazy, though. I don't have any like high-end crazy species. And I don't really sell, so I'm not worried about infesting anybody else's bins with anything crazy. But I haven't had any issues. I had a little outbreak with those little centipedes. Those little orange centipedes.
In
oh, yeah.
Where were they
Yes. From picking up leaves, and they came in on leaves or rocks or, bark. I've been using more local bark than cork bark. So, like I said, cemeteries, if you go to cemeteries, they generally don't use, I would check with their groundskeepers if you see one out. They generally don't use any insect repellent. There's really no need. So there's no like bug spray or anything like that, any toxins for them. They don't really use, well, they don't use any like herbicides, so you don't have to worry about that. But they take all of their debris, like dead branches and bark, big pieces of bark that fall off the trees and leaves and all that stuff, and they put it in one area off to the side. Like they'll bulldoze it basically. So you go there and it's just like this massive pile of rotting leaves, tons of rotten branches, logs, bark everywhere.
It's a little island of life.
It's so great.
Micro life.
Yeah, I haven't gone to collect springtails or anything. I've just gone to collect like bark and leaves and stuff. So rather than just steal it from my neighbor's yards, like they're lawn waste bags. Like, hey, you don't keep anything stupid, do you? Don't collect leaf bags from neighbors that have large dogs. That's my advice. So we discussed that Tuesday too.
I've heard of finding poop in people's leaves. Ugh.
I went about elbow deep before I realized, because the leaves were damp anyway, and I had like from my wrist to my elbow just dog shit, and it was not my favorite day. Now, if I was keeping springtails, I feel like I would try to do more to keep their food sources and anything I sourced locally more sterile, or to try to like, I would freeze it. I think I would try to freeze more than bake.
Deep freeze it, yeah.
Yeah, because I think that baking just takes out too much of the nutrients. That's my argument right now. I don't have any proof on that. That's my assumption.
I agree with you, because springtails, they eat bacteria and fungi and all that goodness. So baking is completely sterilizing. You deep freezing, you just want to kill the predatory mites and their predators, really.
Right.
That's my thoughts. I'm no expert. Someone could dispute that.
Well, and freezing should kill those mites and the like the tiny centipedes that would definitely eat springtails, for sure. Eat springtails.
Hey, I wanted to touch up on how to collect springtails before we lose anybody. So you can go to Walgreens and buy one of these for $10. It's a baby nasal aspirator. You use it.
I have 3 of those. Yeah.
You just suck them right up out of here, and you can put. It's got a filter over the.
So they just get stuck on that filter, and then they're good to go.
Yeah, it's not the best though. If you want to get serious about it, you want to make your own. So they all go into the cup. With this one, there's no real collection cup, so they can fall right back out of the hole they came in. But with this one, they're getting sucked up through this tube into the cup, and then this is your sucky tube, and it's got a filter. Mine's getting janky and old. I need to make a new one. It's all wiggly and busted now, but I really wanted to touch up on that because people don't know how to collect them. Otherwise, you can use spoon and paintbrush. This is what I started out with, spoon and paintbrush.
I feel like that would be so frustrating with springtails because they just and they're gone.
Yeah, and you need to collect 50 if you want to have success. So like,
right. You're out there looking. I saw your thing the other day where you were like, I found 3 of these. And I was like, good for you. So I'm glad to know your target number is 50. But I think it would be cool to find like 3 of something new, something cool.
Yeah. And last year when I was looking for springtails, I wasn't making no money off it, but now I've got monetary incentive to be
Yeah.
out in the woods for 8 hours just searching, as opposed to just 2 hours out in the woods because I just want to get my mind off of things. Yeah, you know what I mean.
I feel like my advice to you, this is going to sound so shady and anti what I always preach, but I would keep some of your secrets to yourself because right now, we were just talking about this the other day. The glut of breeders in the isopod hobby is insane. So if you have a business model where you're selling isopods or selling, like in your case, Springtails, uh, essentially everyone who gets them can become a breeder and a seller. Like you're selling to
Yeah.
your competition.
Yeah,
Basically.
yeah, that's what I've said from day one is, wow, I'm supplying my competition. How weird. But I got a mentality that gets me past that. Starting out, I just wanted to advance the hobby, introduce new species, get people in love with springtails, and yeah, that's what I'm doing. My real business model isn't dependent on me hoarding these cool species. I've got secrets, so you don't got to worry about me. Like,
all right, that's just advice.
My real business model is a little more niche.
I like it. I like it. All right, cool. And then your buddies here, what are they? Oh, so it looks like your buddies all want you to sell them an aspirator. They want you to make them and sell them an aspirator, or just send one, I guess.
Yeah, I've considered it, but one thing at a time. I would love to mass produce aspirators. That'd be cool. Get people into the hobby more.
I picked one up that's like a science model. It's got the the rubber tubing and the rubber stopper and the metal. It's got a little screen on it for collecting ants. And it was like $12 on Amazon. So if you really don't want to make one of your own, you can go ahead and get one. It's not expensive.
Grab one of these at Walgreens. Grab that off of Amazon. It doesn't matter.
That thing is like $20. That booger sucker thing.
Is it? I think I got mine for like 12.
Okay, the one we got was like $20. That's true. I don't live in the sticks. I did.
Yeah.
I got to get down there again for the less taxes and all of that. Neighbors actually looking out for each other. But yeah, you can get a solution fairly cheap. So I feel like I would really need to work on my suction for a springtail, because for ants, I'm like, you can hear them hit the inside of it's like tink. Like, oh, sorry, buddy.
Yeah, with the giant species, they get roughed up, like get a whole leg ripped off, lose all their scales, but they're resilient. I mean, one molt and they're good.
Okay.
It's pretty interesting. Like when they'll get completely descaled, and like people will say like, I found these silver guys, but then I also found these yellow guys, and it's like, oh, they're the same species. The silver guys just have their scales still. The yellow guys are going to turn silver again once they molt. Just keep them wet so they don't dry out.
That makes a lot of sense.
Springtails are very sensitive to drying out, and that's why there's not much risk keeping them either. They're not going to infect unless your house is incredibly wet. Unless you have a wet house, they're just gonna escape and then turn into dust. Like sometimes I'll find piles of them, like thousands, and it's literally like a pile of dust. But then you look closely, and wow, that's a bunch of corpses.
Yeah,
because my oldest bins aren't sealed or gasketed, so they have the option to flee. But nowadays I really like airtight deli cups. Even soil, like these are my orange springtails. Even soil, I like to keep them in airtight deli cups. Nothing gets in, nothing gets out.
So you don't have any ventilation on that at all?
No. You may need to use ventilation for the arid species. I don't know. I haven't seen any definitive proof on that, but most species no. And I've kept them closed for 2 weeks and they're fine. I read like a paper where this scientist left them in a sealed mason jar for 2 months and they were just fine. And they do great without food too. So say you get mites or fungus gnats, just don't feed them. The mites and fungus gnats will all starve out. But the springtails will just make do. They won't grow, they won't lay eggs, but they'll make do, and they'll outlast everything. They really got it made. They're evolutionarily perfect. They haven't changed in 400 million years.
That is so crazy. And who knew we'd find a fossil? Whose eagle-eyed self was out there looking for springtail fossils?
I don't understand that at all. I really want to get amber. Some people collect bugs in amber, and I found people with collections of springtails in amber. And that's really interesting. Because it could be a species that it isn't around anymore, but it's preserved forever.
I'm still trying to talk my wife into this, but this is the craziest thing. I talk about having a tarantula on my channel all the time. That's my confidence that my wife will never watch my show. True love. We're into totally different stuff. Before I get on this kick, Menagerie wants to know how many species you keep right now.
I keep 23 species right now.
I know you just made a list, so I asked that question with confidence.
Yeah.
So speaking of fossils and whatnot, I've been dying to try to get her to let me use. Somehow her family knew somebody who worked at a museum like in Chicago. So I don't know if it's the Field or I imagine it's the Field because that's the one that has the fossil stuff. So we have like a 3-pound chunk of Tyrannosaurus Rex bone in our house. Like, and then there's some smaller bits. Yeah. Yeah. It's like this long. And I want it for an enclosure. I want to like put it in something. And she's like, yeah, but it'll get wrecked. I'm like, it's a rock. Like, what are you talking about?
That thing lasted millions of years. It's fine.
Yeah, I'm like, I just want it. How cool would that be? Like, oh yeah, this is my moss. This is this. That's a T-Rex bone. What the? So, yeah, I don't know if they smuggled it out. Like, the way she told it was just in passing. She doesn't know very much, but as a kid, like, her older sister was into dinosaurs. So this dude just like brought them a bag of fossils, and it was this. It's got to be like this big, and it's a piece of T-Rex bone. So it's got a little certificate with it and everything. And I was like, what? So yeah, just smuggling T-Rex bones out of the museum. But the funny thing is, she doesn't believe in evolution. She's a creationist. So, but she has this fossil that she won't let me use. It's like a prized possession as a fossil for a creationist. I think that's totally ironic, and I love her, but that's one of those weird things you accept in people, right?
Yeah, you get over it. It's whatever. Yeah. Don't make a big deal over it.
That's just funny. It's just one of those things. I like irony. I don't want to call it hypocritical, but it's not really. It's just ironic. Colony and Culture says that they're at week 9 on a set of Candida.
Candida. That's that most common white guys.
Okay. Well, he's got them stuck in a sealed container for 9 weeks, and they're going strong. Haven't starved. Really? Haven't suffocated.
That's funny. I've got some in a cup, and I have not fed them since. I never once fed them, and they're all still alive since December 27th.
Well, they're on that clay, right?
Yeah, it's clay. So it's probably got fungi, bacteria growing, but it's such small quantities that they haven't grown whatsoever. They're all still the same size. Like normally they'd all be adults right now. They'd all be laying eggs, but yeah, it's pretty cool how they can just survive like that. I really this is one of my fun possessions because if it makes it a whole year with no feeding, yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. That's kind of a neat thing. Like you don't like just to see the science of it happening. Hold on just a second. This is the first time I wanted to interrupt the show for a viewer, but Colony and Culture says that they had their 9-week colony, and then Doug Manis asked the one in the car, and he says, nah, different one. So you have a culture just living in your car, dude?
Wait, are you talking about me? Are you talking to me?
No, this is Colony and Culture. Doug Manis asked him if this was the culture in his car, and he said, nah, different one. Like that's the most like blasé, like, nah, man, I'm not living in my glove box. It's totally different culture.
Not the car culture, man. Just casual.
I got one in my car. I got one at my kid's house. I got, what? I keep wanting a shoe.
Do you got any other pictures to put up on the screen? I know I sent you.
I don't think so. I have some video.
I know I sent you some really cool ones, but it might have failed to send because I spammed the hell out of you.
You did, and there was a lot of spam from today with your nerves. So, and I get it. I get it. I'm super intimidating. I'm so I'm so good at this.
I was quaking.
I'm so good at this.
No,
it's like
I was definitely very nervous all day today, but it feels just like I knew it would feel. It's just like a phone call with a buddy, and there just so happens to be some people watching.
I want to share this picture. I'm going to share this picture. Hold on just a second. Let me get to my messenger.
I know I sent you some really crazy white and yellow and red, like this crazy multicolor one that I am so hoping to get into the hobby this year.
There are some videos.
But I guess if you never pull it up, that'll just be one of my secrets.
I think I got, this is the last pick, is that giant one that you were talking about.
Okay.
Let me see if there's video. Hold on, let me get this back in and
if we have a next time, then.
All right, let's see. And I can't see anything anybody's posting, so pardon me for that.
That's it.
These guys are dope. All right, this is the one that I was like so excited about.
And at the end of the video, you can see how tiny it is. I show it right next to my finger, but oh man, that's the one that I've only found 3. And I did go because I had started to collect Springtails towards the beginning of summer. Okay. All through spring, I was all about taking pictures and identifying them. And then I was like, I just want to culture them for fun. And then it snowballed into selling them in November. And then I got on Facebook in December.
Oh, you just got into Facebook. Okay.
Yeah.
I think you just made the cut.
My personal account is older, but I had abandoned it for years.
I think you just made the cut to get into ISO buddies. Like I try to do a little bit of a deep dive on people that are coming in. So your account's got to be like so old and maybe groups in common. Maybe you know people that are already in the group. Like I'm pretty selective about who comes in.
This is what you got to look for when you're out in the woods. This is an incredible species, but look how tiny it is. Like,
so I got to crawl around on my stomach. I got to do the marine crawl.
And you got to flip over every individual leaf. Like,
look at that thing, you guys. I can't see your comments right now, but holy crap, look at that thing. That's just amazing.
That's the one that I am most excited about this year.
I would like to keep those in a jar enclosure, like a jar terrarium on my desk. Like that would be so cool.
Oh yeah.
And just let them go. Do you know what I mean? Like that's all that's in there. Here we go. All right, there's a picture of that guy. Look at that thing. It's tricolored. It's just gorgeous.
I want to call them the ornate clown.
I mean, clown springtail is like, there isn't one, right?
No, there's not. Right. No.
Look at this baby. Look at this gross. Look at this thing. Jesus. I'm going to have the worst nightmares. That's Chris Big's baby picture. I don't know if you know that. Look at that thing. Oh, if that doesn't have a demon in it already. Sorry, I didn't mean to derail. This is from my mom. My mom posted that, and she said, oh no, it's creepy. Yeah, your child would need a psychiatrist. Yeah, for sure. All right, let me get off of that. That was all the pictures and videos that you sent, I believe. Let me see.
We are so gonna have to do another one of these. I got a lot more I want to touch.
Oh wait, what's this?
I'm excited about that one too because they're giant. They're globular, but they're giant. They're like the size. They're not the size of a tick, but when you see them, you're like, that's the size of a tick.
He wants you to take him home. Like, look at him.
I know. He just wants a hug.
He's like, dude, you got some clay? I like clay.
That's a snow flea. Right before jump, they stick out their anal sac.
They stick out what? Oh yeah.
3 anal sacs, and that's like they slap onto the snow, and then those anal sacs grip it and pull them back up. It's disgusting, but
I mean, you do what you got to do. Survival.
All right. So now we're back to the old stuff.
You just bring us back to the beginning.
I've got more pictures that we can share next time or whatever. If there is a next time.
That anal sac thing is hilarious.
I'm not going to get ahead of myself. Maybe you don't like me.
Hey, man, settle down. Settle down. I'm a big fan of having people back on, but at the same time, like I'm almost trying to like talk my wife into letting me do 2 nights a week, like one for a new guest and one for, a return guest. So, because I have other things I want to do and I just kind of like don't have time, like roundtables. Like I want to get people like, oh, let's talk Springtails with Ryne and Pete from Bugs in Cyberspace or something crazy. You know what I mean? Like,
I would love to do it with someone who I've never talked to before.
Right. Bring somebody on who also knows what they're talking about. But it's such a small world. Like, a lot of these hobbies are such small worlds.
Who else is big in the Springtail world? Because I'm a total noob. Like, who else is doing this type of stuff?
I don't know people by name, but I don't know anybody that's doing Springtails like you're doing Springtails. So I don't personally know. I know there's somebody out there that has Springtails. I know that Rachel that we talked about is into Springtails. She's got some exotic species.
She had collected a few off of me too.
Yeah, so there are definitely people that are into it, but I don't know anybody that's as into it as like you are. And I think it's great that you immediately searched out like an authority on the topic, like an actual expert. When we had, who did we have on? I think we're going to have somebody on. Like, we're going to have Oren on in a couple of weeks. Actually, I think it's next week.
I can't wait to see that one.
Honestly, I think it's next week. I think it's the 8th. So that'll be a good one. I decided not to give him the business for not being here last time. Yep, it's Oren next week.
Awesome. I don't know much about him either because I'm a total noob, but I'm excited to see him and hear him.
You have to get one of his books. You have to. Like, he literally wrote the books
That's what they say.
on invertebrates. Yeah. So now they're old. They are old, but a lot of the information, you could keep all of your stuff the same way he did, and you'd be doing great.
How old are they? Like, how long has it been since?
Not that old, like early 2000s or mid 2000s.
Wow,
like 2010, I think. I don't remember.
That's old to me. I mean, I was a little kid.
Yeah, right. F you, Ryne. I was born in 1974. Okay. What is this? I'm missing a lot of topics here. TC Insects post some zebras and something else. TC Insects. Yeah, I've seen some. Like I said, I've seen some exotic springtails around on different pages, but not extensive.
I know a few people who have wild collected the zebras, and I've found them as well here in rural Illinois. They're not a rare springtail, and they're gonna get into the hobby real soon. I know TC Insects has had them like sold out for a while, so I'm excited for people to actually start to get their hands on them.
It's exciting. It's an exciting time for all the hobbies. I feel like the pandemic brought out a lot of crazy hobbies in people.
That's probably what started it in me. I can't remember why I got into terrariums, but like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just such a cool
It must have been COVID.
And that's part of it. I think that COVID got me into isopods. And then it got me to like, oh, I should do my own YouTube channel. I never shut up. Yeah, and you can see my major success of like 100 and we better be at 180 viewers by the time we're out of here. You have like 30 people here for you.
No way, really?
No, it's 19 still, but 19 for an hour? Like, holy crap. YouTube better cut me a check. Bioactivity wanted to know what you use for clay. Like, do you use a pre-mix?
Oh, okay. So, I was hoping you'd bring up clay.
Yeah.
I use the Doug Hollister recipe, and I've talked to. Do you know who Doug Hollister is?
I have heard of Doug Hollister. I have not.
He was big into the dart frog world, and he basically invented clay culturing. This is a 5-pound bag of his clay right here.
Okay.
I talked a lot to him, and I'd use all the same ingredients that he used, and personally, I think it's simple and effective. Trying to make a new clay is like trying to reinvent the wheel. He gave me his enthusiastic permission to sell it. Even I sell it for dirt cheap, clay cheap.
Ugh. Clay cheap. I like that. That took me a minute. I was like, dirt cheap, clay cheap. What is that?
Cool. Let me see here. Here's a little cup of it. Ah, geez, look at that lighting. Yeah, you could totally see it.
Yeah,
it's just like a red clay. The recipe's out there publicly. It's 6 parts red art clay, 1 part calcium carbonate, 1 part no, 1 part calcium bentonite, 1 part sodium bentonite, 1/8 part calcium carbonate. It's the calcium bearing clay recipe, and me and him are talking about a trace mineral clay recipe. So that's cool. I'm excited about that one.
Dude, 9 months in and you're already talking with these guys. Like, that's really amazing. Yeah, Russ has bred Springtails. I'm sure he still does. I'm in talks with Russ to talk about other feeders too. We're gonna talk to him about aquatic feeders like Daphnia and stuff like that.
Ooh,
fairy shrimp.
I would love to breed Daphnia, copepods, scuds. That
yes,
sort of thing.
Yes. I want to do a basically a community tank of those guys, and then because of my newts that have been prevalent on the show, their babies are going to need live food, so that's going to be a big deal.
I find a lot of many different species of wild aquatic isopods and aquatic amphipods, scuds. They're like isopods, especially, they'll live anywhere. There's some species that are just adapted for pollution water, and then some species that are like they can only live in the cleanest springs, and it's really cool. I like to, like, you can stick your hand into the sludge, pull it out, and there's just scuds and isopods slithering out.
It's so cool. We had a creek in my yard as a kid and as a teenager, and I would go down when it was flowing and just, dig around and see all the crazy stuff that just lived in this little garbage creek. It would get like a foot deep, 2 feet deep, maybe. BDFBs? What are BDFBs? BDFs are colony and culture. What is a BDF?
I probably know it, but I'm striking a blank here.
Oh, Tal Aquatics wants to see your fire brats, and I kind of do too. I forgot about it. Thanks for bringing that up, Tal.
Oh, yes. Those came from him. He's the original collector of those.
Now do you keep these on heat?
Insulation and heat packs so they're nice and warm. Oh, I haven't looked at them in maybe 2 weeks. There's so many in here. Let me see. Take this off the tripod. Can I turn the camera?
I know, we spent so much time getting it on the tripod.
Can you see them?
Oh, look at them go. They're fast.
Yeah, so there's a heat mat underneath of the tank, and then this rock is on top of it. Makes a convenient feeding location, as he put it, because mold free. Just put the food powder right on the rock there.
Smart.
They're cool. I was freaked out by them at first, but they're pretty like intelligent. Like, I was just sitting there watching like two nymphs just like chasing each other around, like for minutes. It must have been like 10 minutes, just these two nymphs interacting. And I'm like, wow, they actually have intelligence, like some sort of intelligence. So yeah, if you want fire brats, Tal Aquatics has them for a good price, and they do great. And the shipping is great too. I got mine in the dead of winter. They got lost because I ordered around Christmas time. They got lost in the mail for a while. I think like 1.5 weeks in the freezing cold winter. And I open up the package and it's still warm because his packaging was so great. So yeah, I can't recommend those enough. Like, get some from them. They're cool, and they're up and coming. They're an up and coming bug for sure.
Where's my pen? I need to get Tal Aquatics on here. We're gonna be reaching out to you, buddy. You recommend coming on the show? Are you having a good time?
Yeah, it's all cool. Right. It's like you told me like you're gonna be awkward and scared at first, but you'll open up. And yeah, that's exactly what happened. It's what I knew would happen.
Dude, if we got Ophi to open up, like, so Rick from Ophi Spider-Verse, his daughter Ophi, we had her on to talk about tarantulas. She's 8. I believe she's 9 now. But she is adorable, but is chronically shy. So it took a good half hour for her to open up. So we kind of just like ignored her for half an hour. And then she was like, you could see her just busting in to answer questions. It was awesome. So I felt great. And she's such a sweetheart. I've got to meet them. They live in Illinois too. So I got to meet them in person. Yeah. Rick is like my homie. Like, we are brothers now. We're kin. All right.
That's awesome.
Tal Aquatics.
Didn't know that there were all these Illinois keepers. Like, I've made some Illinois friends as well. It's cool.
Yeah, this is why I want to do
Cal
like
Aquatics is in Wisconsin. I hope to meet him someday.
I have a book here somewhere, a notebook that I was trying to take notes to try to organize like PodCon, but it would be Midwest branch. Like I think we could get like different branches to do little miniature PodCons all over the country. So
like maybe like would it start off like just like buddies getting together and trading, or are you talking straight expo?
I'm talking like just getting together at first to just start to get together and meet and strengthen those bonds. You know what I mean? Strengthen that connection.
Yeah.
Because like sharing information is such a big deal in this hobby because it is still big, or it is still new. Even isopods is still pretty new. So like Oren was saying, I don't remember the dates he gave me, but he's been going since the 80s, I think. And he didn't even meet any other invertebrate keepers until like the mid 90s, late 90s. So it took over a decade for him to meet people. And even now, it's like, I think 2014 is when he said that it really kind of kicked off. Invertebrates. That's not just isopods. That's just like invertebrates. So for 6 years, like, or what, 8 years now, it's everywhere now. Everybody is crazy about all kinds of crazy invertebrates. So to see that grow from something so small or so cloistered, I guess. But now we have the internet, but I think there's a lot of value in meeting in person and making those connections, those real connections, and making those ISO buddies. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I love the ISO buddies community.
Well, thanks. I really like to foster the people that are coming in and staying strong. And we get a couple turds. We get a couple people that are opinionated, you know, that whatever, they can be opinionated. That's fine.
Yeah.
We keep them around because it's nice to have differing opinions on things too, as long as they're not steering people in the wrong direction.
I mean, if somebody wants to prove me wrong on anything I said, blast me. I love to be proven wrong. That's the best way to learn, really. And it's humbling too. It's like, oh geez, I need to shut up.
Well, I mean, not shut up, but maybe like, because here it's live. So you might say something that you didn't think about for a minute or 10 minutes or 40 minutes before you said it. Like they're going to have time to, any viewer is going to have time to watch this and go like, let me check my notes. That's not correct. So, you know, don't blast anyone. Don't be a dick. But we use the word dick on the show now, thanks to our German guest last week.
I need to watch that one. I told you before the show, I was like, how long do these usually run? I haven't even looked at your channel in over a month.
Solid. We did 2 hours on the 22nd because it was like 2:22:22, and we aired at 20:22. We aired 8 minutes early because it was 8:22 military time, and we ran for 2 hours. It was all Tuesday. It was Tuesday. It was amazing.
That's awesome.
I fudged the numbers by 2 weeks, so to have it be that anniversary, but I feel like it was worth it. So what was that?
I totally missed that Tuesday. Like it was the day after. I'm like, wow, it was 2:22 on a Tuesday, and I missed it.
Yep.
Now we gotta wait till 30. Now we gotta wait till 2033 for Three's Day. It's gonna land on a Thursday too. I heard March 3rd, 2023 is gonna be on a Thursday. So
2033 or 2023?
2033.
2033. Okay, 3/3/33. We'll air at 3:33 on that. That sounds great. I'll do a special episode with somebody from Russia. We should be settled with Russia by then, right? I had a prospective guest from Russia who's supposed to be coming on to talk about ants, but I don't know what's going on with their like internet connections and stuff. It's crazy right now.
I'm loosely keeping up with it, but I'm loosely keeping up with that stuff, and it's
wait till you're old. I sit and I'm like, oh, what are they doing now? Gas is crazy. Like, it's just I can't get over the people that bitch about gas prices. Like, dude, you're not living in a subway tunnel right now, you know, getting bombs rained down on your city. Settle down. Your stupid pickup truck that you shouldn't be driving anyway is gonna be just fine. There's all kinds of people talking about where they're from right now. So we're going to do that on ISO Buddies and Facebook. So if you haven't checked out ISO Buddies on Facebook, do that too. It's a great place to connect and meet people. We've got a really, really solid community. So far, I stand behind everybody there. including you, sir. And feel free to kind of just pimp your website. Don't talk about stuff you're selling. I'm not trying to get blocked on there, or have my group get canned because we're talking about selling stuff.
And it's ISO buddies, you know. We're not trying to make money off of each other. We're making money with each other. That's my way of thinking about it.
There you go. I have a really hard time in this hobby because being like I consider people friends. My personal philosophy is I consider people friends, like actual friends, until they prove otherwise. So once I start messaging you on Facebook, like we're legit friends. So welcome to my life. So that said, I want to support everybody. So when I go to buy something, I'm like, oh crap, who do I buy from? Who's in the rotation? Like, who do I get to buy stuff from now? Who's having a hard time in their life? Who needs a new car?
That was difficult when I first started out because I was like, I'm going to get all my pods off of this guy. And then you make friends who sell ISO pods and it gets complicated.
Yeah.
It's whatever. You'll learn that it's not a big deal, I guess. I was like, I
do a lot of trades. I'm really glad my wife is like, well, you do your show, you have all these people on, don't they just send you stuff now? And I'm like, I'm not about that. Like, people have sent me stickers and stuff, and that's awesome. But I don't want it. You know what I mean? It's your business. I don't ask people for discounts or freebies or anything.
Mm-hmm.
We do offer ad space. If you want to do an ad before we get to 500 viewers, I think we're doing it $20, and you get you get a minute ad in the beginning of the thing. So, and mentioned. Oh, wow. So, okay. And that's grandfathered. Anytime you want one in, from then on, it's easy peasy. Cool. I feel like $20 is pretty reasonable.
Well, let me know about that, because that sounds fun. I would love to try to make an ad. Would it be like a video of me like in a green screen room?
It's whatever you want. So far, it's just been me talking about your products. But,
okay.
You know, I'm working on it. I want to script them. I want to actually script the ads and be like, hey, do you love isopods?
Do
you love them as much as
podcasts, me? Like podcasts do. Okay,
yeah, they make them real cheesy. Yeah. Like, but cheesy, super cheesy. Because I feel like those ads generally suck. So,
the cheesier the better, because some people actually try to sell it, but like everyone knows you're getting paid to talk about it. Make it fun.
Yeah, but I feel like $20. Like, I'm not buying a boat. I'm getting quality backdrops like this right here, buddy. That was my second ad paid for that backdrop. But I had to spend $30 on airbrush paint to make it airbrushed when I get time.
How many episodes until that's ready?
Quiet, man. I'm not making any hard promises. 37 more from today.
37 more.
So next year, we'll have it ready next year. I probably should try to iron it too, huh? So you use clay, you collect yourself. How many species have you purchased? Like, how many of these species that you own have you purchased? Because it sounds like most of the ones in the pictures you collected yourself.
Well, I traded with Colony and Culture, Jacob, for the tropical pink guys. I think I traded. Maybe I bought them. I don't remember. Jeez. Let me look here.
I knew I'd ask you a question you didn't have the answer for. Oh, claymation would be great.
I think I bought 2 and traded for like 3. And so then, yeah, most of the stuff I've collected myself. And it's interesting, like, you're just sucking them up with this giant tube here. So you accidentally, like, some of my species are complete accidents too, which is fun.
Oh, so you were looking at another species and you sucked up a different one.
Yeah, you just accidentally suck up enough of a different species that they start to breed, and then you separate them. I've got cultures all over the place in here, but most of my species are in pure cultures. Like, there's still like cultures that aren't pure, but then I slap. I don't have one handy, but then I slap a little green sticker on it to show that it's not pure.
Okay.
I try to stay organized with stickers too. Like, yellow sticker means you gotta phase that one out eventually, because they start to get old. I'm gonna save this one for another time. I really want to talk about food in depth. springtail food. Or maybe unless you want to talk about it right now.
I mean, we got like 10 minutes. Your buddy Thal's already complaining about bringing us. Should have brought a 6-pack to this thing. He's already crying. This guy.
Bonfire.
Because I definitely want to talk Springtails again. I don't think it's a topic that's. I think people take them for granted because, like I said, they're traditionally until like this past year, they're feeders, so nobody cared. But I think they're fascinating, and I think like who knew they had 3 butt prongs that they jumped with? Like, what?
Not all of them.
I mean, whatever.
Yeah, but yeah.
I'm going to tell people they do.
I do this all the time to show people. They've got an organ, and it looks just like this. It's called the furca. Fork. It's a fork. It's 2 prongs.
Furca.
And they snap it down, and that's why they're called a springtail, because when it's fully extended, it looks like a tail.
Okay.
It snaps down. And they're one of the like fastest rotating animals in the world. I think they rotate at like 15,000 RPM or something after they spring. Like
so they can spin it off like a ninja star. Like they're out of there.
Yeah, you need a ridiculous camera to even show it. Like the slow-mo mode on my phone can only pick up 1 frame of movement.
Yeah, they're already gone. Like it's already gone. Or it's a blur.
It's
You're like, what is this?
Black streak, really.
Yeah, what is this dust? One of your guys mentioned earlier that the tiny ones, the tiny blue ones, he said watching them feed in mass is great because all of a sudden it looks like there's just blue mold forming on the piece of food in real time. Like it's just.
Oh, really?
Whoop. It was way gone. That comment's way gone.
I never get to observe them anymore because, I've got well over 100 cultures. So like feeding
That's the problem.
Feeding day is an automatic 5 hours, and then if I'm doing anything like observing them, it's just adding time, really. So yeah, don't get to observe my cultures all that much unless they especially interest me. It's cool. I really like where things are going here. Like this shelf I'm looking at right now it's almost filled. I can't wait for it to be filled. That's what I thought I was going to do today, but ended up being too busy.
I mean, you were nervous. You were nervous.
Oh, yeah. I was totally wrecked with nerves. And I just opened shop today, so I had to talk to 1,000,001 people. I've got 2 big black bins I'm looking at right now that are they're almost completely filled with clay cups that need springtails in them.
Wow. So you're ready to put cultures to work.
Oh yeah.
Are those clay cups for shipping?
Yeah.
Okay.
Most of them are for shipping. Yeah. I really like to ship on these little 8-ounce clay cups because then you can keep culturing them right in the cup they came in instead of some people will be like, oh, I dumped them out onto charcoal, and I'm like, dude, they were on clay. It's 10 times better than charcoal. I mean, whatever.
Why would you put them on charcoal? You stupid. I had 1 culture on clay and I didn't like it, so I took them and put them into just an isopod bin. I spread them out to bins.
It depends on the clay too. Like
all my cultures are just in isopod bins. It was from a reputed source. I don't remember who I got them from. I got them at a show from somebody that I honestly don't remember who it was from. I want to say it was from Rachel.
Okay, yeah, her clay looks pretty good. The springtails I got off of her were on clay, and I actually still have them in the same cup. I transferred them, like I split the culture 1,000,000 times, but yeah.
That's awesome.
It depends on the clay too. I guess I shouldn't name names, but there's a certain clay out there that is marketed like for beginners, like ad space paid for on Google when you search for springtail clay. And that's the first thing that shows up, and it's like specially formulated for like any species of springtail, but it's like 90% charcoal powder, and it's just like a black dye, and springtails don't live on it. I gave my buddy some of my clay for free, and he's like, yeah, there's already more babies in 2 weeks than I ever saw in 3 months on that other clay. And I'm like, dude, because you don't need to make a different type of clay. This clay is solid. You're reinventing the wheel if you try to make a new one.
I want you to do an experiment for me for the next video. How's that? Does that sound okay with you?
I would love to do an experiment.
I want you to make a clay mix, I guess. So here's my theory. You adjust it as you see fit because you're more into the clay. I'm not. I just didn't care for it myself. The clay was fine. It worked. I just didn't like it. So I put them into bins myself. I'm always looking to upgrade my bins and the way I keep my isopods and my Springtails, and I keep them communally. So, but like I said, they're just the trash isopod or trash Springtails, and mostly trash isopods. Make a batch of clay, like a small batch, maybe a pound, and you have isopod bins too, yeah?
Yeah, that's what this is all isopods.
Okay. Take maybe a common species. I don't know, dairy cows or whatever common species you have, like local vulgare. I'm sure you have some local species, right? You go out in the woods all the time.
Yeah, I don't have vulgare, but I've got the Rathkeys and then the Nasadums. I'm not good with scientific names. I don't know if that's how you
That's fine.
Anyway.
So put the clay maybe under the moss where you have the sphagnum moss, like your wet side. Like a little patty of it or a couple balls of it that are going to stay moist and stay wet. And see how that does. See if that has any effect. Because you got calcium-bearing clay. I want to know if the isopods just eat it or if it just stays. And you'll be able to observe, like, if the Springtails stay over there, if most of the colony is there, or if they're spread out. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay.
Because I think that might. Here's the deal. Here's my thought in my head is that if this works, this could increase the sales of your clay. For people like me that are too lazy to make it themselves with the recipe that's out on the internet.
I hope that my one buddy is still watching right now. We need to talk after this because, well, me and him do, because he's kind of already kind of working on something like that for isopods.
Who is it?
Calcium source. Shane.
Shane's still here. He's right there.
He's still there. All right. Yeah. So yeah.
That's okay. So that's Doug Hollister's original theory with kook and the clay. You peeking at my experiment shelf?
The reason
everybody's doing this already. All right, I'm not doing anything new. Okay, cool. Colony Culture said that they're doing that already.
The reason why you want calcium-bearing clay, or why calcium-bearing clay was invented, was for baby dart frogs weren't getting enough calcium in their diet, and springtails pick up and carry the nutrients that they consume. So, like, yeah, they're getting all this extra calcium in their diet because their food soaks into the clay, and then they eat the clay, and then they get that calcium in their diet. And lo and behold, it ended up working to get more calcium into the diet of frogs, because I guess apparently you can't gut load fruit flies. Prove me wrong, somebody, but you can't gut load fruit flies supposedly. So then that calcium bearing clay ended up becoming a sort of standard. I don't know much about the dart frog hobby, just surface.
I know the issue with dusting the fruit flies is that dusting them, the dust gets, at the very least, the powder gets everywhere in your enclosure. And most dart frog people, like, they keep it gorgeous, like they want their enclosure to be gorgeous. Like,
you never see an ugly dart frog enclosure.
Well, you do with a lot of bullshit calcium buildup, but that's why they kind of shy away from it. So if you can gut load, that's really cool. I don't know a whole lot about it either. I'm learning about gut loading the Springtails now. But
I'm learning about gut loading as well, and that's sort of what my
Shane says you can't gut load them.
You can't gut load Springtails?
No, you can't gut load the fruit flies. He's agreeing with you.
Oh, okay.
You can theoretically gut load Springtails versus you can't gut load fruit flies. Okay, so Shane.
I know that I know you can gut load Springtails because when they're kept on clay, they kind of turn a slight shade red because, like, the clay is red. Like, you can just tell that it's possible. You see their bellies are filled with red. So they've got the nutrients.
It just makes sense. That's one of those things that I don't think you need science. Like, that's common sense. Like,
yeah, exactly.
You're watching them eat it.
Yeah, eventually.
Well, you are with your crazy macro lens. You're watching them eat it. I'm watching them run around on
crazy macro lens. Like, people, this thing is I think it's $23 now. Inflation. It was cheaper when I bought it.
Yeah.
On Amazon. I
That thing's
mean,
pretty rad.
I'm down to talk Springtails anytime. So if anyone wants to like shoot me a message and say like how I want to collect wild ones, how do I do it? If I have time, I'll give you the rundown, and I'll send you the link to this. I've got the big trick is lighting. I've got this ring light that's also a lens. I use the lens every single day, and the ring light is super good for lighting. It has multiple light settings. That was $35.
I have to get one of those, a better ring light for my miniature painting. So
I'd love to talk about the tools of the trade sometimes, because yeah, there's a couple tools that I just use all the time. Like, believe it or not, I use this X-Acto knife all the dang time. Like,
oh yeah,
like it's like a surgical tool for. You can use it to move even the smallest Springtails, like scoop up the clay underneath of them even. Because sometimes when you're making a new culture from a contaminated culture, you'll have contaminated, like you'll have a different type of Springtail in there that you don't want. So you just scoop them individually. You look at them under the lens like I got here. You can scoop them individually. It's a good tool. Practicing with the macro lens gets you a good steady hand for that sort of thing.
right. Mine are so all over the place. Like I have a neurological thing, so my hands are like. But the more I practice and work with them, the better it is. Sorry, I have to write down Shane's name too because I didn't realize Shane was the Calsa Buddies guy, and I want to talk to him off the air as well.
Yeah. That's what I was going on about, Calci Buddies. That's the Shane's working on some cool stuff, food and supplementation wise, and he also keeps some really cool Springtails and isopods.
I like the idea of not only keeping things better, but enhancing the hobby and possibly the environment overall. So his Calsa Buddies, the concept behind them is something I really want to support. So I love cuttlefish. I think cuttlefish are one of the greatest creatures on the planet.
I had no idea that, like, wow, Cuttlebone, they're killing cuttlefish for that? Poor cuttlefish.
They're not killing them for it. Like, they eat the cuttlefish too.
Oh, okay. Are they farmed or just wild caught?
They're pretty much just wild caught, yeah. Wow. There is a octopus farm now, though. Somebody figured out how to farm octopus, so
that's screwed up.
Yeah,
octopus are smart.
Or cuttlefish, like that's the thing. So it's crazy. Like I consider them sentient. I don't know. Well, science pretty much does too. But the people that think they're delicious don't. I have a hard time eating the higher cephalopods because they're just too smart. Like they're into too much stuff. They are harvested for food, yeah. So they don't live together really. So they can't really farm them. But yeah, okay. So we're way off topic, but this is really good.
Cool, that's cool.
I definitely want to have you back. So I'm hoping that you'll come back and talk about food and tools of the trade. You can do your own videos too. But I would like to have you back and talk about those things as well. So I'm trying to do more round table type of things. So I'll let you know if I think if there's another guest to bring in with you.
Yes, that would be awesome.
Yeah, so
especially if they have different opinions. Because also I want to talk about soil. I'm new to the soil game, so I would love someone to come in and educate me. But
dude, I got a couple soil people.
Like crazy bioactive, like 100% edible soil sort of thing.
You want to look. Chris Biggs, the Mad Aquarist, has a really great video if you're looking for YouTube videos about all his stuff is wild harvested. And he put his really expensive pods on this new mix that he did, and they are doing amazing. So like the results that he got from very, very different species. So are you into isopods that much? Do you know like tricolors?
Yeah, I know the isopods. Yeah.
So he has tricolors in one bin. One setup. He's got. I can't think of them, and I want them so bad. It's a Porcellio species, so totally, vastly different from hugely different areas in the world, and they're doing well in like the same mix. So just a little bit of different. Hydration, right?
I love my soil. Like it's the main diet for my rubber duckies. Like every time I check on them, they got a big black streak down the middle because they've just been eating the soil. Speaking of which, I neglect the hell out of my isopods. Try all I might, I can't really get interested in them, so they get checked up on once every 2 weeks or so.
Yeah, it becomes a thing where you have other priorities, and it's good that they're very good. My advice to you,
thrive on neglect, so it's cool.
Kind of, yeah. My advice to you now is the advice that I just got from, I can't remember anything ever, but they're using wet leaves. I think it's Hodgepodge Pods.
Yes, yes, I've talked to her about that. That is an incredible line of thought that she's brought forth.
Wet leaves and genius. I don't know how it never occurred to me. I don't know who else it hasn't occurred to, but so smart. It is a hassle, but it's very smart to give them. I mean, they eat the dried leaves for sure. They eat them, but
not to mention for sterilization, you know, you don't freezing or baking, you're like, there's always that chance. But if you're sinking it in water, there's nothing on land that's gonna
there's nothing that'll live there that will destroy your nothing that lives underwater that's going to destroy your isopod colony.
And it makes any like oak, for instance, you know, those types of leaves don't get eaten very fast. Like people recommend like cottonwood, I think, because it's a nice soft leaf, but with this technique you can do anything, and it makes them so much more edible. I feel like it's going to get proven to really increase the reproduction rates, basically, because they're getting, I don't know, that's my thought.
Well, they've got nutrients that are more available to them to use. So they're going to be processed better. So like I proved, you can eat isopod chow. You can eat it.
Oh, dude,
it's awful.
My cats love my springtail food. Every time I spill it, they find it and they lick it up because it's fully edible. I let them do it. It's kind of hilarious.
I did a taste test on this, and you could eat it. It's not great.
Crap.
You're gonna taste your springtail food right now?
Yeah. Why not?
Only here, folks. Only here.
Yep. It tastes like feet. The smell of feet. It's not good.
It tastes like the smell of feet.
Cats like it. I don't.
Wally, that's worse than your food, Wally. Yeah, Wally came on. Wally paid for an ad, and he's been getting some solid coverage since then. Yeah, that's perfect timing. So, yeah, I'm glad that you tried that. Like, we've had some really great first moments on this show. For a human to try springtail chow that tastes like feet smell.
And it's kind of like, I should start eating it, because like you make springtail or isopod food and you're using like human superfood supplement powders and stuff. Why the heck? Why are my bugs eating better than me? Damn it! I need to make a routine and start supplementing.
I know plenty of people that buy all kinds of produce, and when they come home, it's not for them. It's for their isopods. It's for their lizards. It's for, you know, which are crazy. Like, eat that stuff, ding dong. What's wrong with you? And they're only buying like the organic and responsibly harvested, and it's like, and then they're eating McDonald's on the way home with that bounty in their
my sin is cereal, man. I've been addicted to cereal a long time, I have to admit. So all right, my dogs eat way better than I do.
Question for you and the audience. So when eating cereal, what do you do with the milk at the end?
Drink it, man. I can't stand people who don't drink the milk.
I love your face. You were like, what do you mean, what do you do with it? There's only one option. My wife gets mixed. I buy cereal specifically for how it's going to make the milk taste afterwards. So if you haven't tried it, Cinnamon Toast Crunch makes a churros cereal.
Oh, okay.
It is amazing. So drink it. All right.
I'm a big chocolate cereal guy, because then you get chocolate milk at the end.
What's your favorite chocolate cereal? There's only one answer to this, but two possible, I guess. But
you know what? It's the stuff from Hy-Vee. Do you even have a Hy-Vee in your area? That's the grocery. That's the grocery store in my area. I don't know what
generic. Is it like the Multi-Meal Cocoa Pebbles?
It's like, well, like they sell it in big bags, so it's the best option. The name brand stuff is too pricey, man. When you get big into the cereal game, dude, you find your
well, I find that the name brand cereals kind of cut corners. Like it tastes synthetic. Whereas you get the Multi-Meal is the one that makes the big bags. We get them at like Walmart and whatever else here, but Walmart usually has the biggest selection. I love the bag cereal. Like that's my jam.
Yeah.
But my favorite chocolate cereal is boxed, and it is name brand. It's Frosted Flakes, chocolate Frosted Flakes.
Really? I didn't know that they made a chocolate cereal.
Dude,
maybe it's because you live in the city, but I've never even seen that. I used to stock grocery store shelves, and I never saw that.
Get it on Amazon. Do something. Get that in your life.
I'm almost scared to try it. Maybe I won't be able to go back to my old ways. No, man.
Yeah, Cinnamon Toast Crunch doesn't taste like it used to. But I will say the Golden Grams just re-released their original recipe into stores at a limited time, and I don't know why it's limited because it's one of the best cereals ever made. It gets soggy the instant it touches air, but it's so good. Wally hates generic cereals.
Wow.
Multi-Meal brand Cocoa Pebbles, their version of Cocoa Pebbles is better than Cocoa Pebbles. Hands down. And those Multi-Meal people will put a marshmallow in any damn cereal you think. They'll put marshmallows in everything, which is, oh my God, I love cereal marshmallows.
I didn't think that we'd be getting split opinions on cereal on this live stream today.
Wally's old, so Wally, and he's gonna hit me with his hat next time he sees me. So,
oh geez, my beautiful, wonderful grandma is watching, and she just said that Multi-Meal is the bags that they've got at Hy-Vee. So I guess that's what I like.
She just texted you, or she said it?
Yeah, she just texted
Your
me.
grandma's watching?
Yeah.
Hi, Grandma. Hi, Grandma Pavy. Is it Grandma Pavy?
Different last names, man.
Dimash?
Demos.
That's dope. Just threw up a little in his mouth. Now you know how I felt eating that isopod shell.
Dude,
but that was my choice.
I have nothing to drink here. I finished my soda and my water, and I just got this foot smell in this foot taste in my mouth.
Oh, you've just been sitting there? You're gonna have to eat a couple Springtails and wash that down.
I forgot to put a filter on my aspirator for like days, so I guarantee that I consumed multiple Springtails in that time.
Well, don't take the filter out when you suck a booger out of a kid's nose. Don't do that. All right. Well, that's all I've got until we get into the next episode. We will talk Springtail food and nutrition. We will talk, and it will be based on results, less on science, but more on results, right?
Yeah. Let's just
kind of science.
Observation. Just
right.
Speculation and observation.
And
I hope we get some interesting comments too about people who have done their own experiments.
Well, it turns out all these guys are doing experiments that I'm old news. I'm old shit. Like I didn't even think about this clay thing is old. Springtails do a body good. Yeah, you got to gut load them though, Wally. We talked about gut loading your Springtails. So for human consumption, you want to get some vitamin C in there. You want to get all the good stuff.
You want to feed them that 8-ingredient Springtail gut load if you're going to be eating them. 8
ingredients, man. Mushroom powder is one of them. I know that. Spoiler alert.
I can't wait to talk about it because I didn't just choose any old ingredients. I experimented. I gave them each raw ingredient, saw what they liked the most, and then chose my ratios that way. It turned out the most expensive ingredient, mushroom powder, is their favorite. So that's got to be the damn main ingredient. So
mushroom powder is a killer. Like I got it from my isopods, and I was like, you guys enjoy it because you're never getting this again. You'll get like real mushrooms, but you won't get this. All right, guys. Thanks for coming. Ryan, thank you for coming on the show. I appreciate it.
It was a great time.
I'm so glad you say that. So I'm excited to have you back. So we'll either just have you or we'll have, like I said, we'll have a round table, which my round table is 3 people. It's me, you, and somebody else.
A round table would be cool. A round table might be better because I don't know if I could talk another hour and a half just about the stuff that I mentioned. So a round table would be interesting, I think.
As you can tell, we don't just talk about what I say. So
yeah.
Cereal milk was a good 20 minutes. Your grandma was another 4 minutes. So we will talk to you again. So thank you so much for coming on. I had a great time.
Awesome, man.
So
this was a lot of fun.
Yeah, if you want to stick around and chat a little bit after the show, I'm just going to do my sign out stuff and then say goodbye to these yahoos. And we'll see you in a minute. All right.
All right. Yep.
Oh, now that he's gone, I interrupted him saying goodbye. Hold on.
Peace out.
All right. There we go. Very, very, I can't think of the word. My words are gone. I used them all up in the last hour and a half. So, guys, thank you for coming. Thank you for saying an excellent show. Shane, I want to talk to you off camera this week. I'm going to try to message you and somebody else who I wrote down. Aquatics. We're going to talk. We're going to have some stuff. Wally's going to watch tomorrow. Artemis Pewd. That's a great name. A lot of new faces. If you liked what you saw, like, subscribe. We have so much good content. Go back, watch some old stuff. I kid you not, every episode's worth watching. I wish it was just me saying that, just to pimp my own stuff, but I'm not. I'm pimping the guests that I've had on. I've had on some really amazing quality guests. Like I said, next week, the 8th, we are going to have on Oren McMonagle. We're going to be on at a different time because Oren he's in a different time zone, so we're going to accommodate that. Oren's the guy who literally wrote the books, plural. I don't know how many books, but it's been more than a few. And they're kind of old school. It's really kind of cool to see like the old school library quality physical book in your hand. Great photos, great information. Another Josh Suds. We are going to, we'll probably talk about millipedes. I want to talk to Oren about care for display invertebrates. Ones that you want out on display, and tricks and tips to encourage those behaviors in your animals. That's the book that I have specifically that he made, which has just about everything in it. So we're definitely going to talk some millipedes, not too much. That's going to be an upcoming episode. We're going to talk millipedes in depth because honestly, we haven't done that yet. It's been over a year. How have I not talked about millipedes? Probably because isopods eat them and they're not really buddies with isopods. Thank you for hitting like and subscribe, Colony Culture. I appreciate that a whole lot. Share it with your friends. Share it on your page. Share the love. Throw it around. It's good stuff. It's entertaining, I think. I hope you had a good time. You guys been here an hour and a half, for Christ's sake. Like, how much more do you need? We're going to work on a Patreon. I don't know if that's going to be anything anybody's interested in. I'm interested in it. So we can get cool new backgrounds like this. I could get a cool new hat. Get some badges put on this hoodie, which is my new uniform. Anyway, next week, Oren McMonagle. After that, we have a ton of great content coming your way up into like deep April. So we'll talk to you guys later. All right. Thanks again for coming in and have a great week.